niet altijd even slim zijn, zeg maar. Oh, ik moet gaan. Ik heb dat niet. Moment. Hi.
Hello, Mindy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Busy.
Busy.
Busy with the wrong things because there's no money coming in, so I'm doing something wrong here. I need to fix that problem at some point. I am busy the whole day, but it's just not giving results. So, yeah, I need to work on that.
Yeah, there's something called the productivity pyramid. That says what, to focus on. But it's for another day to discuss.
Yeah, my pyramid is upside down right now, so it's not working at all.
We have a lot of note takers that want to join. Where are the people?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I was just, can I still answer? No. Oh, whatever. Doesn't matter. They can all wait an hour, right?
Yeah,
But how are you?
I'm good. I have the productivity period the other way around.
Good. I can learn from you. This is terrible. Yeah, I need to do something about it.
Tim is joining us. Well, you're doing one thing right because you're aware of the situation, right? Many people are not aware. Well, you're aware, which means you can start doing something about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's the first step, huh? The recognition. Recognition. How do you say that? Recognition.
Awareness
Awareness. Yeah.
is what I call it. Yeah. Hello, Tim.
Good evening, Dan. And is it Mindy?
Hi.
Hello.
Yes, Mindy is on the same time zone as you, Tim, I think.
Yeah, I thought so. I got still a note from the last meeting we had together.
Nice. How are you?
Baking hot. It's about 32 indoors. No, 35.
Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here too, not that high, but the equivalent, it went up the same here in England. So for us it's hot too, yeah.
Yeah, one and me and you make two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
How's
is
life treating you? How's the weekend?
weekend is for me is like a weekday because my weekend is Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when I take my
Tuesday to
days
Wednesday.
off. Yeah. Like, I said on the last call, I dance standard time, right? So my weekend is Tuesday, Wednesday.
Well, I separate up, so I go shopping Mondays. So that's the sort of start of my week.
Yeah, yeah. Um, let's see who else joins us. We had here Mark last time. Mark usually joins us. And we had who else? Keith, I think.
Yeah, Evan also. No.
Evan, yes. Was he on the last one? Because I think he skipped one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you like to share for until the other people join? Anything so Mindy has been sharing that she's busy, but feels like she's not getting anywhere. How's that with you, Tim? Are you busy and not getting anywhere?
No, I'm getting quite a lot actually, thank you. Yeah. I found from my last experiences on learning how to do things or knowledge acquisition before I start speaking, I've got quite a long way up the ladder now. So I'm trying to organize more speaking practice.
So do you have any pointers for Mindy maybe, or for me as well? How we can, get
Well, Well,
more done?
the first thing I would say is that we're all different and we all have different ways of adopting or learning or immersing. So our brain things are quite unique. So that's the first thing. However, there are some core examples that is quite, it's quite global that you have to, in most cases, you have to learn to listen to audio or voices. Second one is you have to read. The third one is that you need to write some stuff. And then if you're learning a new language, you probably want to speak it as well. So those four things don't change. You
Yeah.
can do them in any order. So everyone will have their own preference, because they can either read better or write better or speak better. But you've got to start with those four as a foundation. Once you've accomplished the mix of those four, then you'll be in a position to then tackle how you're going to keep all of the information in your head.
Yep.
And it's not necessarily about doing flashcards or examining pieces of paper, shuffling them around the desk like I've done. It's about thinking in your second target language.
Yeah.
That's
So
maybe the second thing from my stance now, I wouldn't
yeah.
have said that 12 months ago.
Yeah. I think this is more like specifically in language learning or learning in
Yeah,
general.
any
In
language,
general,
any
yeah.
learning of anything really, you can
Yeah.
apply it to. You've got to read it, you've got to hear it, even
Yeah.
if it's IT or it's mechanics or driving, you've got to be able to experience it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think Mindy was, but you weren't on the call yet, was more talking about on her day working on her business or projects, and being busy all the time but not really getting anything done, right? But one thing you said, Tim, and you started off with that, everybody is different. I think that's one thing to keep in mind when we look for our way of doing things. We're like looking for answers, and then we're like, oh, this person says this, right? But if you take 10 people, they're going to say 10 different things. So you just have to
Mhm.
find what works for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and that person is taking me a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my basis was that I know a lot about IT and computers because that's been my job for like 30 years. And even 50 years ago, I had a computer at home when I was a teenager.
Nice.
So I thought I could learn as much as I could by working out which programs are going to work for me, which applications, which devices, etc. So I couldn't divert off of that particular platform, but it was useful to being, I'd say, one third of a leg of a three-legged table.
Yeah.
And the last piece I put together is I'm up to the level of where I'm primarily trying to use my knowledge in my head to understand. Okay, hey, it's Mark. So I'm trying to understand the speaking part of it and doing that in the head.
Nice. Hey,
So people might take that.
Mark.
People might take that role the other way around. They might be doing that first, and then they accumulate the grammar.
From what I'm heard just now, hello everyone.
Right.
Tim was talking about his language journey, but I missed half the sentence in question.
Yeah.
You were talking about the order in which you're doing your learning, right?
I'm personally doing my learning in a way that applies to me and the way
Okay.
I've been, not, I wouldn't say struggling. I wouldn't call it struggling. I would call it knowledge accumulation and comprehension of the
All
things
right.
I thought was my basic platform, which was IT.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only one third of the three-legged table.
Right.
It all
And yeah,
started. Hey, Keith, and hey, Mark. It all started with Mindy sharing that her day was very busy, but she feels like she's not getting stuff done. And
Well,
then,
no, I get stuff done. I'm only not paid for the stuff.
Hey,
That's the issue.
I totally
I
I
misunderstood you.
totally understand you right now. I'm
Yeah.
going through that, at least when I look at what I'm doing on school. The
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing, the good thing is that I'm still getting paid from my day job, but that's the fail safe.
Yeah, that's maybe what I need. I maybe need a decent day job and then spend my evenings on school. Wouldn't that be a better idea? To just spend all my time on school and not getting paid. So yeah,
Yeah, it can
I
be a
need to work
scam.
on it. Need to work on it.
Yeah. How have you been, Keith? You just joined us after Tim.
Oh, it's been good. My wife is a teacher and she just started going back for training today. So we had the get up earlier than usual adventure and help her get ready and on her way. So that's why I'm a little bit less energetic because I had to get up 2 hours earlier than I'm used to. But I mean, it's something I'm gonna have to get used to because I did it every day last year while she was in school. So starting that cycle over.
You tend to stay up late, I think.
Yeah, I work closing where I am, and even though we close at 10 p.m. In the produce department, it's still late if I want to get up at 6:30 every day. By the time I get home, unwind, eat a snack, all that stuff, I'm usually
Yeah,
in bed by like 12:30.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then, I had a feel for that, seeing you online, later in my day. And so when you then say you had to get up 2 hours earlier, then yeah, you didn't get much sleep, right? Yeah. How is it for you, Mark? Are you getting enough sleep?
I'm getting roughly the same amount of sleep as I started getting the moment I got married, which is, I still managed to get 7 hours in on average.
That's good.
So I sleep at around, let's say, 10. By 5, I'm up.
Yeah. Yeah.
5:30.
nice.
Even in summer. But then again, when you have a wife who works in tourism
Remember,
and who doesn't drive.
remember, guys, time in bed is not time asleep, right?
True.
It's for me, again, it's different for everybody, but for me, a rule of thumb is subtract 1 hour. So 7 hours in bed would be 6 hours of sleep for me.
Mhm.
To get 7 hours, I have to be in bed 8 hours because it takes time to fall asleep. Then you wake up before you get up. You wake up knowing that you wake up during the night, but there's also times that we are awake. We don't know. We think we're dreaming or something, but it's actually wake time when you track it in the sleep lab. So a lot of people when they're like, "Oh, I get 6 hours." I'm like, "Yeah, 6 hours in bed is not 6 hours of sleep."
I wanted to ask
True.
something. Have any of you ever, let's say, decided to invest into any sleep tracking software? I mean, from the way you're speaking, then it sounds like you have.
I wear it.
I
Ah,
was
okay,
going to ask about it. Yeah.
okay. Let me guess.
Yeah, I'm not married. This is
Let me guess.
just
Is that an Aura ring?
yeah, it's an Aura ring.
Ah, I thought so.
It's an Aura ring.
Goody.
I
What I don't understand is, yes, okay, you wear the ring, it provides you with metrics. Then what? What are you going to do differently according to the readings?
I'm so happy you say this because I have the same thought, and I have so many friends that have the watches and everything, and I don't want to wear a watch. And I ask the same question, and I get always the same answer. Yeah, but then and then if you know, you can change it.
so
I sleep good. I really sleep fantastically. So
so for me, it started with I wanted to get more deep sleep. And this is like, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. And it was because I was working out. And for people who've worked out, you know that your muscles, they don't grow when you work out. That's when you break them. They grow when you're asleep, and specifically in deep sleep. And I was like, how can I get more deep sleep? And it was at that time when I got this old thing. Look, it's duct taped now. that this thing tracked sleep, and that's how I, like got into that, and it was like showing my deep sleep to be low. So I started getting into investigating about that, and that brought me to a guy called Matthew Walker, who is a sleep researcher, English, who is in California since, I don't know, 20 years. And he started doing experiments, and he wanted to like do this for like 2, 3, 4 years, and it became his life career, right? So he wrote a book called Why We Sleep, and I highly recommend to read that book, because we completely underestimate how important sleep is and what happens in sleep. And especially for Mark and Tim in the rapid learning area, you'll be fascinated to know the results from the experiments he did, how it affects learning, right? So long story short, that then led me into wanting to get a better sleep tracker. But what we have to say about sleep tracker, whether it's, in your watch or they call this the gold standard, they're never completely accurate, but they are, if they're off, they're off by the same amount all the time, which means you can see when you are worse or better than your average. And so, like Mindy got the answer from people she asked, you can then act upon that, right? And they are so sensitive nowadays, this thing is, that it really, that right now I'm drinking coffee when I'm not supposed to. That's my addiction, coffee, right? I'm on the sauce, coffee. So if I stop drinking coffee at 9 a.m., which is what I want, right? I've been doing it for a long time. Now I'm not. Then this shows up in my readings, in my heart rate variability immediately. And anything shows up immediately. Alcohol, exercise, any stress. And so I can immediately tell when I'm going off too much, right? And that's when I'm then like, okay, now I need to correct. All right, now I need to correct. And also, what you need to consider with these sleep trackers, the one in the watch is primarily made for exercise, so it tracks that very well, but the sleep not so well. These guys, from the beginning, they concentrated primarily and only on sleep. Meanwhile, it also does like exercise tracking, but it's nothing like, your Garmin watch or whatever would do. But sleep-wise, it's incredibly sensitive. It also so it also comes down to the algorithms, the software, more than the sensors. The sensors, they're high tech, everything, right? You can this thing has 7 temperature sensors, so it's like completely redundant. But they're super accurate. But the interpretation, what that means, that's the algorithm, and so it depends how much they invest in. Like Skool has programmers to give us this best platform ever, in my opinion. It's the programmers that do that, right? And so it's the same with different sleep trackers. It's how much they invest in. So they've partnered also with Matthew Walker, for example, to advise them what this all means, right? Long answer, but what Mindy was getting from her friends, it's that you know what's going on and you can do something about it, right?
But what is it actually doing with your sleep because you carry it? Because I'm not a fan of having my phone close to me or whatever. Everything goes in flight mode in the evening. I just put my audiobook flight mode, but then I think this ring is also giving some, well, I don't know. Is it not messing with your sleep because you wear it?
If you're sensitive, some people are sensitive,
I don't know. I just don't think it's a good thing, but yeah.
No, but some people are really sensitive. I'm not, right? Some people well, I don't have any electronics in my bedroom anyway, right? My phone is actually downstairs. The only thing I have is this. But this even you can put on flight mode. So it then purely just gathers data. And then when you're in the morning, you connect it to your phone. That's when you take flight mode off if you want, right?
Yeah, but what I meant to say in the original question is, you can have all the data in the world. But the point is, if you're not going to change the way you act, you cannot hope for anything to change with
Yeah,
it.
of course, of course.
So the responsibility still falls on the user, the person. Like
Yeah.
if I'm not getting decent sleep, it's up to me to make the necessary changes. Let's say, for example, I find out that I tend to sleep better if, for example, I go to bed at 9 instead of 10. Possibly.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to figure that out.
So
Yeah,
Mark, what you should
course.
do is you should design one that has a shock feature in it. And so when people say, "Hey, I don't want to do this anymore," and then they do something they're not supposed to be doing, it shocks you. And then it can help you, and it's not like just on you. The machine can like help you along.
Not a bad
So like if
idea.
he's
Not a bad idea in principle.
so if he's drinking coffee after 9 a.m., it'd just be like, "Zzz," and you know,
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
but then again, how would I do something like that without people feeling that the machines they're keeping inside their homes supposedly to make their lives better are actually not spying on them? Like, for example, I don't know, cleaning robots taking photos of their owners
that's
and then
true.
sending them to the
What,
Chinese
raw
government.
level?
No,
Well,
you're
I was thinking
absolutely right.
you can get a phone book filled with law documents, and they got to sign off on each one, and then therefore you're just completely not liable for what happens.
So the small print.
I mean, sheesh. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think at some point, um, some of that stuff is going to become so common. Uh, I guess if I could relate it to the COVID vaccine, right?
Hmm.
There was some debate at my workplace about the COVID vaccine and whether or not people were going to take it. And my opinion is fairly neutral. So I'm not necessarily worried. I figure I'm probably better off taking it than not. So I took it. My wife was like very much in the we have to take it. And then there was some people at work that were very much like, I'm not taking it at all. And if they don't let me come to work, if I don't take it, it doesn't matter. I'm not taking it. And work didn't like require us to take it, but there was some talk about it. So all that is to say that at some point in the future, the technology level is going to get to where it's so common for people to have robots in their house, and you're just going to have to decide whether or not you want to opt out. Because like it's going to get to the point where it needs to collect that data in order to help you, and you know then somebody hacks it and gets that data. Like the robot's going to have to pay attention to what it does in your house. We had a Roomba at one point, and this was like nearly a decade ago, and it would map the house as it went along and like vacuum stuff up off the floor, and that was to assist it to remember things to not like run into and potentially damage itself or get caught under a a sofa, like it would remember, oh yeah, that's a sofa. I need to like go around that. So like as things get more and more sophisticated, it's going to be interconnected, and they're going to have data on. I mean, they basically can map your whole house down to whatever small particle, and then you're just going to have to choose to like opt out of it.
Yeah, the issue I would find is them collecting, let's say, unwarranted data or more than they're supposed to.
I mean, for sure, for sure. It's just going to come down to like what you agree to or not. There's a lot of apps that like want access to my phone, and I'm like, why do you need access to like be able to rewrite my data? And I'm like, no, I don't want access to that. And then it's just like, well, you can't use this app. And I'm like, well, I need to use this app, and I don't want to give you access. So what am I supposed to do? So I like cycled back and forth. And then eventually I just started using the app, and it wasn't a problem. But at first I was like very uncomfortable with it.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there is a perfect solution, but definitely it's going to come down to like researching what they're actually doing with that data. Like you said,
It's scary.
it is.
It's I was yesterday I was talking with my wife about, how now the big thing is, oh, AI will take our jobs. 10, 20 years ago, it was robots are taking our jobs. And so, for example, there's no bank in this village I'm in because slowly they have been replaced with machines, right? And now the bank is gone completely, right? But yesterday I came across a video of past professions. And so, did you know there was a profession called a knocker-upper? He would knock you up. And knocking up in Old English means to wake somebody by knocking. So this person went around with a pole knocking on the windows in the Industrial Revolution, right? And obviously in the States, knocking up became something else, but that was a profession, right? And so now when we are about talking about, oh, AI is gonna, we're worried about these jobs that are being taken, but, here on your phone or since you were born, you've been using an alarm clock and none of us ever thought about, oh, we took somebody's job, right? Because that alarm clock was somebody's profession. And there's so many other professions that no longer exist today because everything has changed. And so these professions we have now, I don't know, 50 years from now, nobody will even remember that was actually a job that got lost, right? I think
The
it's
thing,
just time.
yeah, the thing is, most of the jobs that end up getting replaced for the most part are either jobs that have been lost to automation, or simply because we came up with inventions that are much higher leverage.
Yeah.
Say, for example, in construction, whoever first invented the crane, that made a massive difference in construction.
I think
Yeah,
it was
it's
the
just
Egyptians.
happening
The
faster and
Egyptians
faster.
made the cranes, didn't they?
Say again, Tim?
The Egyptians made cranes, for example.
I don't know who was first, but I suppose that they all happened roughly at the same time in antiquity. Wouldn't surprise me too much.
It will now now that particular modern job takes away 10,000 people's jobs in the Egyptian period.
That's what I meant with this example prior.
Yeah.
Exactly, Tim, right? And nobody is like, ooh, no. I think I just realized in the past these changes they happened gradually. And so like people, were learning to live with it. But today changes are happening so fast, and the young people, they will adapt much faster. But people like, my generation, Tim, and then
That's always the case.
you guys, so it's right.
Well, in England, it was the Industrial Revolution that noticed it. We're starting with enclosures and factories, Industrial Revolution. They didn't like that.
I think a lot. Anybody here listening to Daniel Priestley?
Oh, right. I came across him lately.
Yeah, he really explains that really well, especially for the UK. I listened to a lot of Daira, the CEO, and yeah.
That's where I saw him. Yes, incidentally. He was on the same episode with Hormozy and with Cody Sanchez.
Yeah, well, he had another
All three
one.
of them.
He was on some feature ones, and it was about the UK and about AI and about, just like what we talk about now. So it's really interesting. He knows so much about it. And
Very
about
nice.
also how it is now in the UK with with the economy and stuff like that. So yeah,
We'll link it to this episode because I really like that one with the most recent one with Hormozy.
Yeah, I didn't watch it yet.
I only saw the first 10 minutes. I still have to watch the rest.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things. I think Bartlett does such a great job with bringing people together that they have amazing knowledge and nobody actually knows about.
Yeah, but this also goes to show that he's got quite the following if he was able to attract all three of these people at the same time to his particular
yeah, and it's
podcast.
not the first time. It's the third time already that Ormozy was there. And he had, damn, the previous president of America is not coming.
Obama.
What?
Obama.
Yeah, he had his wife last on
Yeah,
the podcast.
surely not Biden.
No. No, and it's like if you can get that wife, it's like, okay, wow, yeah. Then you're
You know,
doing
Mark, you know the American Shark Tank series.
Yes.
UK one is called Dragon's Den. I don't know if you
Yes.
know it.
Mm-hmm.
Bartlett is one of the dragons now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Interesting.
on there. Or at least he was last time I watched it. Yeah. And he now also has a new channel called Behind the Diary or something like that. It's very interesting. You see him behind the scenes, how, you know, they plan everything and stuff.
All right.
That's how I learned about Mr. Beast, actually. I didn't have any clue about Mr. Beast. And then I watched his episode there. I was like, oh.
Imagine.
Such a nice human. He does so good work that it's like, wow, I didn't know anything about it. What an amazing person. Wow.
Shall we go over to part 2 of our School Buddies life, which is talking about the topic of today. What is School Buddies, or what do we want School Buddies to be? Mindy said something last time that really hit home for me because I didn't consider that, but it's so true. And I'm paraphrasing, you know, I don't remember the exact words, but basically, Mindy has a community. It is for a specific avatar. And Mindy then has people at work or friends and wants to invite people to school, but they don't fit her community. So how can she invite people to school? And that's what School Buddies would enable. Am I saying it right, Mindy?
Yeah. I don't remember that I said that, but yeah, that's how I did exactly.
Yeah, you said that for you that's a need. And I think that's a very good use case of having a place that's like neutral, for want of better description. It's not a niche specific, but it's about school where people can have a first touch point of school. So that would be one. Yeah.
So you want to broaden the horizon of what School Buddies attracts, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is the difference with before?
What do you mean?
Well, he says you want to widen, and then what was the reasoning behind it before? Because I thought it was already
Yeah.
that.
So for me, right, and obviously that's why we're having this call so we can build on that. But for me, when I came here, what I saw was here to school was great. We have schoolers and everybody's helping each other, but you need to have a school to be in there. And everything else is communities that you join that are specific. And so I was like, here we have like the teachers lounge, but where do the students hang out, right? And so for me, a place like School Buddies is then where everybody can hang out for so many different reasons and to, you know, help one another, whether you are very new at school or whether you are here for quite some time, but you might not know about some interesting communities that other people know about. Basically a place where people can learn more about school, explore school, and network with people who love school.
So how are you going to differentiate yourself from the groups that do that, but basically as a job rather than as a comfortable invitation, I would say?
Yeah, how can we do that?
Yeah, for sure. Um, you're already producing content, so that's good. Your strength is definitely leaning towards helping people to empower themselves and giving knowledge that can help people to understand themselves better. Sometimes that takes like a personal conversation with them. So I think aside from what you're doing now, you might want to consider doing some content where it's like you in the camera, but pretend like you're talking to one of us. So that if somebody comes along it, because it was like 27 or 37 minutes, I think, is what it takes for somebody to
Hmm.
like know, like, and trust you
Yeah.
and feel like, okay, I know Dan pretty well. I've watched his content. I feel pretty comfortable with him. I trust him to at least provide what he says he's going to provide. Maybe I should check the School Buddies out. And then you can bring people in without it being about money, which I think is what you're aiming for at least for School Buddies.
A slightly different way of doing it, and which frankly I would much prefer for my own stuff would be rather than me just talking alone to the camera.
Right.
I would much rather have a person who agrees to be my case study, and at the same time, this person would know in advance that listen, this part, this conversation or part of it is going on, for example, YouTube. So even while we're having the discussion, we are discussing even with the well, with the thought that someone else is going to be seeing this later on.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, you also avoid having to record separately. I mean, I don't know if you've tried recording on your own, that is to say, without having someone present. But the thing is, I find that in discussions like these, I find it much, much easier to say what's on my mind than simply looking at a camera and talking. Sometimes you will run into difficulties visualizing that person. They tell you that imagine the person that you want to be talking to. Why do I have to put myself through the added difficulty of having to imagine this person while also recording at the same time? Why not make
It's
my
tough.
own why not make my own task a little simpler by instead having the camera record as it is already doing right now? I'm not paying any attention to it. I mean, I'm only paying attention to it now because I'm actually looking at it and mentioning it. Other than that, no, my focus is on you people here.
Yeah,
So I,
I've
so I
done
keep
it
it only in one
before,
place.
and it's hard to do content, especially if you're basically reading it off, but trying not to read it off, and it sounds horrible. I was very disappointed. I think I did like 3 videos, and I was like, this is not how I'm going to get my future going. So I pivoted.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I found myself doing that, I thought, my goodness, I'm embarrassed of myself here. I know I'm way better than
Yeah,
this.
I know the feeling. Yeah.
Hey, Evan.
Hey, Evan.
Oh, your mute
Hey,
button.
hey, what's up?
Hey there.
You look different.
Oh yeah, I got rid of the beard. It was part of. I did it for my son. He was all like, "What do you look like without that?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know. Let's see.
Cool.
It'll grow. It'll grow back, so it's fine."
You look a little
Good.
redder than I last remember.
Yeah, spent quite a bit of time in the sun here doing yard work and stuff. It's hot here in Texas.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Keith, I get what you
Yes.
were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be more getting people to School Buddies rather than, what actually is School Buddies about? Once they're in there, what is
Mm-hmm.
it about for them?
Well, since you're the one who's frontlining the group, um, their touch point is going to be you first and foremost, and so I think that's a strong, like, you're creating a brand that is School Buddies, but is also you. And then you have this content which is there, and then you would just have okay, so like the searchability, like you bring up topics when we're talking, right? And those topics are meant to like stimulate conversation. Well, if you were to separate those into searchable topics on a YouTube channel, then somebody could find the topic, find you, get their answer, trust you, find us, and then want to join. So it would be a natural progression, but I was just thinking of how to do it without having money involved. Because a lot of the groups that want to help people in school, they want to do it because they want you to sign up through them so they get paid. So if you're trying to help people without that payment metric, it'd be a good way to build trust and get
Yeah.
people to join your group.
I find it useful to do the helping as a person myself in the couple of groups. But I would say that my role is an explainer. So if I notice someone reaching out for some sort of help, which I have done quite a lot of times over the last 8 months or so, I then say, oh, that's an interesting question. Maybe you might like to consider, for example, a lot of content is free, especially if you use your own thought system when you're learning a language. And someone then replies with, well, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. But I don't go any further. I don't say, oh, you've got to join the pro group because, that's £500 a year. Because that's not what I do.
Yeah, I see. I completely understand, Keith, what you're saying, and I am happy to communicate that on videos, right? That obviously they need to, get it to know it from somewhere, but ultimately the goal is that in the community, basically you could remove any one of us, and the community still provides what it provides, if that makes sense, right? So at the beginning, obviously, and also later to explain to people what it's about. I agree. Good idea to have short content that leads people to that and explains it to them. But right now, I think formulating what to explain to them, what Skool Buddy is about, is what I want to refine a bit, if that makes sense.
Well, to bring up what you brought up earlier, you wanted to talk to them about community and what is available on Skool, and that you feel like it's the best platform. And the reason why is because of the people that you can communicate with and the communities that are available. So, in a term of bonding with you, but also bonding with the information, you could do content where you highlight other people's communities. And then, therefore, you're serving the purpose of Skool Buddies, which is to introduce school, to broaden the horizon of what people know is available. And then they also get to know you at the same time as somebody that's a connection person. So they're like, oh, I know, like, and trust Dan because I've seen his content. He brought up this really cool community. I'm going to check out Dan's community and this other community and possibly join both of them. And then that could happen. That way, anybody that's searching for any of those communities could still find you, could still find Skool Buddies, and could still get to know everybody in the group. And then in the future, after you've made some content and say me or Timothy or Mark or Evan or Mindy, all of us are starting to be more proactive, and maybe you're less proactive for whatever reason, they can come to Skool Buddies and be like, oh, I'm going to connect with this other person because I know that I trust that Dan, the people that are in here and active are people I can trust. And I like the content and I like what they're saying. And I'm going to broaden my horizons with them. And then it's not necessarily all on you, but you were basically like the key to the door.
On that point you just mentioned over there, Keith, I was having that same idea when I was describing the thing of not talking by yourself to the camera. Because I thought, hold on a second, if I'm talking to someone else, we would essentially be able, two different people, to use the same recording or bits of that same recording on two different channels to cross promote.
Right.
Essentially, except we're doing it just by having a discussion on how we're doing things, rather than an actual pitch to the camera. And I think nothing comes across as more natural than that, because all you have is really two people in discussion. But anyone who's going to follow that discussion long enough to, let's say, to the end or most of it, at that point, they wouldn't be doing so if they didn't think it were interesting, especially if it's going to last, let's say, half an hour or longer. Don't you
Exactly.
think?
Yeah. Yeah,
To
it's like
me,
for shorts, it's like 16 seconds. Sorry, go ahead.
to me, because we're joined late and we're running out of time. I've thought about this subject a lot, so I wanted to kind of throw my thoughts out there. To me, School Buddies is different. Can be different, will be different than the large number of other school groups that are promoting school. I mean, in the fact that it's like togetherness, buddies itself, the term, the word. Um, it's like, hey, I don't want to do this alone. I want to be on this platform to find other people like me, or to kind of take the journey with a friend, with a buddy. So if you think about like um, Goose's group or whatever, his superstar calls and stuff, like they're pretty big, and they like it feels like a big family kind of thing. I get that vibe from this, along with like kind of education about school. But like those two things kind of merge together. But in the sense that like, hey, I'm somewhat new to school, or even maybe if I'm like a longtime school user, like the idea is, hey, I love school and I want to do it with somebody else. Even Goose's group isn't necessarily like that. It's more like, hey, let's come hang out kind of thing. And there's not really like direction around like, hey, no, like I'm doing. I mean, the blast things or whatever they're called are kind of like that. Here, it's some kind of guided direction, but more that where it's like a buddy system where it's like, hey, and yeah, togetherness where it's like, hey, we're doing something and we're doing it together, like rather than, hey, let's come hang out and let's see what happens, kind of togetherness, more like, yeah, the buddy system where it's like, oh, hey, what are you here for? Cool, I know somebody else that's here for that. Here's your buddy. And that's what I imagine it being, and that can scale, infinitely, as far as like, oh, well, what are you looking for? And cool, well, we don't have anything like that. Would you want to spearhead something like that? Would you want to use this area here to find more people that are like that? Bring them here first before you go launch your own school community or whatever. Like, find your people here. Like have mixers or something. I don't know. Like
So it sounds like
that's
you want to, instead of just like focusing on Dan, like my previous, it sounds like doing like a multi-hosting. So like you, me, and Dan would be talking together, or all of us together, but maybe a specific group, and do highlights on that. More
yeah,
of that kind of
and like
focus rather than just one
yeah,
person.
yeah, and I mean, like Dan's job slash, like the moderators, like their job is to get to know the people as they come in, and know everybody, I mean, by showing up and by attending the things and really being the connector, and being like, oh, hey, you should meet these people, or oh, hey, come to book club on Monday with Hangme or whatever. Like you're gonna love that kind of thing, or oh, we have this other thing on Friday, and then it's like, yeah, we have a lot of things going on, but it's not for everybody. Not everything is for everybody. But with the intent, like having that intent and putting that like upright where everybody knows, hey, yeah, like look, the calendar's full of stuff and there's like thousands of people here, but don't feel like you're going to get lost, or that nobody cares about you, and don't just just joining and getting just another name in the book. If our goal and the intent behind the group was to make sure that nobody feels alone or gets dropped off and gets paired up with somebody, or gets recognized or spotlighted as like, hey, this person brought up a brand new thing. We've never heard anything like that. Is anybody interested in doing something like that? And if they're not brave enough to do it themselves, then that's what Dan's for. That's what I'm for. That's what Keith's for. That's what, the people up there. It's like, wow, this guy's cool. Look at this. Like, is anybody else interested in this kind of thing? No? Well, let's go find some more people that are interested in this kind of thing. Let's start marketing this guy's thing, and bring more people together and create more buddies.
I love your
Togetherness.
energy. He's sleeping the best of all of us. Just so you know.
It's exactly that. It's exactly that, and the togetherness, right? So I just something went through my head in some of the groups that we do, and this one is one like that for me. I would actually want to remove owned by Dan on the about page. It's not about me, right? It's owned
Yeah.
by us, and not even owned. It's us, right? So I
Dan.
totally get right now. I'm like, the founder, creator, and I have to like communicate to people what this is about. But ultimately, if we take this in the future, it's exactly what Evan was describing.
I see that already happening inside of my community. Imagine this. When it comes to, for example, German, I actually had a recent member volunteer to take charge of the role plays, in particular. I had no issue with it at all because it's my space as much as it is everyone else's.
Mm.
In
And
my
if you can
eyes.
just show that intent at the beginning, then I mean, it's not like it's unheard of. Other groups do this kind of thing, but that should just be like
Yeah, it needs to be more out there, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And like, here, welcome everybody. But then it's like the real work comes in when they get here, and they can't feel left out. And there has to be like an onboarding process where it's not like, oh, here, like here's where everything is. It's like, no, the onboarding process is get to know the person, like,
Yeah.
and then like onboard onto them, and then I imagine it like school as a campus, and this is like the quad center and the thing in the middle where it's like anybody can do whatever they want, but like somebody's got to be the person on the side, like scheduling stuff and like making sure that, oh, hey, yeah, whatever Tuesday is Taco Tuesday, and there's always a food truck and people show up to it. But like, so but it's not like that's just a person sitting with a clipboard on the side. That's not their thing. So that's kind of what I imagine it to be.
I've had some experiences recently with a WhatsApp group, and the lady who is a neuroscientist, teaching a lot of people before she's joined the WhatsApp or created the WhatsApp group. She's got 4 subgroups, one for introductions, one for practice, and one for the methods and the theory, and the other one. But someone perked up and said, oh, why don't we have specific language groups within the neuroscience WhatsApp group? And I thought, well, you actually don't have a lot of conversation going because it's quite new. And I would say that it's quite difficult to create the start of, let's say, a German group or a French group or a Spanish group or Russian group. I would say it's really difficult to start one because I tried it myself. So there are always going to be a negative, a neutral, and an active one, but they're all going to be percentages that are very, very low to start with. So I chimed in with, well, if you've got the initiative and you've got the platform to do it on, and you've got the time and you've got the material and you've got the method you're going to be using, please let me know. Good luck.
Yeah, and so that brings up a good point. I mean, like part of the onboarding is one thing super critical, but then two, like in the module section, it's like the posts can be about like, hey, school, like I mean the official posts, and kind of more leaning towards what Keith was saying, bringing people in, giving them showing around campus. I would just like to always use that analogy. And so like, here's what we have on campus, and here's why you should choose our university over some other university. But that's why you want to be here at Skool Buddies and on Skool, not in Circle or Kajabi. And then, but like in the module, like one of the main first module is showing them how to like sign up for like getting spotlighted, starting your own thing. Like that should be like what the course material is about, is, hey, how do you become more active here? How do you become a thing here as part of Skool Buddies? And I really do think it's like it's for people, because if School Guides is people that have their school group or are like ready to start their school group, then School Buddies is people that like want a community or want education or whatever. But it's like, really, I mean, everybody's gonna finally kind of get the idea. It's like, hey, I should start my own school group. So it's like a start your own school group where it's like more about, yeah, here's the things that you would have to do. Like, you're gonna have to make coursework and gonna have schedule calls. Give one a shot here. Just try it out. Say, hey, yeah, you can put your name on the list and host a call and see how it goes here with these hundreds, thousands of members or whatever. See who shows up before you go launch it and try and get people to sign up. It's like testing the waters kind of thing. And find your school buddy that you're going to start your school with, because that's why I haven't started any successful school groups, because it sucks to do it alone. So if this is like more about, hey, find your people, find your person. Oh, you finally found your school buddy. Now you can go start your school group and join School Guides and whatnot. So it's more just play around with it, have fun, meet people, and like try to, because everybody's so scared to like, oh, I can't get members or whatever. Just like everything that we do should be about helping the people like on their way towards being a school guide. And I mean, yes, it'll be a funnel, but that's not the intent behind the funnel. It's not like but I mean, ultimately it plays out that way in the most like wholesome way possible.
Exactly. What you just described in terms of why school is not the competition, I think that is a very important part. And so also there's like two phases or two groups. And the one we should start with is people who are like clueless about school or on school since a while, but still clueless, right? And then over time, yes, we get School Guides people, and they will be buddying, guiding the people in School Buddies. But the first wave or group that it's for is people who are clueless about school. And so what if I would, as part of the onboarding and the first like modules, gradually introduce them deeper into school, right? Because, videos have been made of School HQ tour, for example. Can put that in there. Or, for example, I know of 3 Easter eggs. Maybe there's more, but obviously the school cat, right? And then you can do the ka-ching sound on your keyboard. People don't know that. And then there is also, you can get the confetti on any link on school. That's more a School Guides thing than a School Buddies thing. But if we share like insider stuff like that early on to make them feel, hey, this is, I'm being shown stuff here that I don't see in other places. And from that, then obviously also have communication with people to spot people who would like to step up and start helping with, I don't know, doing certain things.
I'm great at detecting who the scammers are.
Very good. Very good. So you see that this is something that I'm doing currently, but it's not my like favorite thing. And if you
Oh, I
say,
love doing that. I
right?
love exposing people like that.
Yeah, so
It's like
that
a
will
puzzle.
certainly become a thing, right? More and more.
Background checks on social media, chasing up fake images, all that sort of stuff. I love it.
How about if we start with, and time is up, I reach out to you, and if you have time, we hop on a call individually, each one of you, and we find out how we, can help each other. Like, for Mindy, for example, I was talking about this productivity pyramid. I keep calling it period. Yeah, and maybe Mindy has something for School Buddies, etc. We could do that.
I would like that. That sounds great.
Cool.
Cool.
I'll reach out to you, all of you. And thanks for today. And
Thank you, Dan.
yes, I think this is going in a great direction. And really thank you, Evan. You have a way of explaining it that really clicks, I think. I think you're saying what we are thinking, but you really have a way of explaining it. I'm really grateful for that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for saying that because it
Thumbs
makes me
up
feel
to
good.
everyone who
I've been trying a long
contributed.
time.
Thank you all for being on this call. We'll see you next time, hopefully.
Great. See you.
Sure.
See you soon.
In my calendar. Bye.